Hey, what's up, Hello News family? Welcome to another episode of the Can We Talk podcast, our show where we talk to dope people in the community doing dope things. And today is no different. I'm so excited to have our next guest on. She's a friend of the show. She's been here before, so we know it's going to be all good, all love. But she's talking about an amazing event that's celebrating our culture, that's talking about Juneteenth in one of the most amazing cities in Miami-Dade County. So without further ado, I would love to welcome to the show again, Vice Mayor Katrina Wilson from Miami Gardens. Hey.
Hey. How you doing today?
I'm good. Thank you so much for joining us today.
It is absolutely my pleasure. My pleasure to be here with you again.
Oh, of course. Look, they reached out to me and they're like, we're having this event. Vice Mayor Wilson would like to come on. And I'm like, of course, like stop the show. Let's figure it out. She's coming on. So thank you.
Woohoo!
Yes. And Chief Pride, we know she's a chief out there. So we all gotta have that chief connection.
Yes. That's the love of my life. Is my former high school. I love that place. It was a place where the genesis of so many of my great memories in life was when I was in the high school there. I tell you, my friends, my family. Oh, it just was the best place to go to high school. I tell you, it really was. I know the Bulls would disagree with that, but hey.
And that's crazy because I'm like both. I graduated from the West, but went to Carroll City for 3 years. So it's like this conflict I have, but it's Chief Pride all day. It's Chief Pride
all day.
And you definitely bring that chief energy into the work that you do in the community. And you have this amazing event that you're one of the lead sponsors of, which is Juneteenth, which has become one of the premier Juneteenth events in South Florida. So tell us all about what Miami Gardens has going on.
You know, for us, Juneteenth was declared a city's holiday by our former mayor and now chairman of Miami-Dade County, Oliver Gilbert. And so the year that he made it a city holiday, the following year, I said we should have us a Juneteenth celebration. And the pandemic hit. We started to plan and we said, or should we go on and have this event because we need to be socially distanced. We're going to have to keep the people from, being in close environments and large scale where large scale people, groups were going to gather. And so, we sat down and we thought about it and we thought about how much our families were going through, how much the country was going through. And that one of the things so many people were really missing is the connection with each other. And so we crafted this whole idea of having our Juneteenth celebration as a park and a party. That's how the whole idea of a Park-In Party was created. What was created under the premise is that we could come, we can socially distance, we can get out of our cars, we can get back into our cars, stay apart from each other, but still be in a place where we could see and feel the energy and the spirit of our people celebrating the fundamental thing that we all love and adore in America, and that's freedom.
Yes, I love it. And I came to that first event that was during COVID, and I will give you guys credit, especially you with pioneering this event, that in the midst of everything that was going on with COVID-19 and being socially distant and everybody was getting cabin fever, it was a way for us to finally be able to connect with community in the same. And it was one of the best Juneteenth events that I had ever been to. And I really give you guys kudos. And Miami Gardens is very intentional about creating moments and experiences for the residents and just people in the greater community. And so to me, the way you guys orchestrated that, especially during a time when things were so uncertain, but people really were longing to connect with each other, you guys executed that in such a great way that I just have to give you your flowers and give you your kudos right here, because that was something that like we were needing it, and you guys like fed us and gave us that opportunity.
The one thing that I get emotional about with Miami Gardens is that we are a city where just some of the best people in the world live here.
Yes.
I mean, some of the best people in the world. They love the Lord. That's number one. They have a grounding in their spirituality and in their worship and in their higher power. Two, they believe in family. They believe in the foundation of what family brings to a community. Third, they love education. Most of us that are live in Miami Gardens, our families had, some of us had very, very meager beginnings, but we believe in working hard, going to school, getting your education, getting a job, working, and taking care of what? Your family. And so those people are the ones who inspire us every single day to be creative and to be daring about how we hold ourselves together as a community. And that's why Juneteenth took off, because we've got to hold ourselves together as a community with new ideas, with out of the box thinking, but more importantly, with a unified approach to how we continue to make Miami Gardens a place where you want to live, work, and play.
Yes, and that's very evident in the work that you guys are doing, especially with Juneteenth. And this year is going to be, really amazing. You have a really dope lineup. In the past, it's always been a really great show. So tell us, what can people expect this year? Like, what are you guys doing that's going to be stepping it up even to another level?
Yes, you know what? First of all, let me say that we never want Juneteenth to be confused with a concert. We never want it to be confused like it's a festival of sorts. What Juneteenth is a celebration of freedom. Yes. It is a celebration of freedom, and it's a recognition of our ancestors who were enslaved at the time and were not allowed to be given the information that they were free, because the slaveholders wanted to get the profits from their labor in the harvest of the season. So they worked for, I think, almost 2 years after they had the Emancipation Proclamation had been issued. They didn't even know that they were free, because it was a conspiracy to keep that information from these enslaved people in Galveston, Texas. And so what that represents is that once they found out that they were free, when the Union soldiers marched into Texas to let them know, hey, you are free. And right now, this slavery that has been continued to go on, it has to cease and desist. It was like in that moment, slavery ended for everybody in America. And for the first time in the history of America, everyone was free. Wow. Everyone. So that moment, those newly freed, I don't like to call them slaves, but those newly freed African Americans said, let's celebrate. Let us celebrate. And Juneteenth was really, Black people have their own language, right? And so it was June 19th, but it became Juneteenth. Right? Okay, it was recognized as the day of Jubilee because there were huge celebrations. And the way they celebrated, it wasn't just about partying. It was about coming together. Let us bring together our music. Let us cook our food. Let us tell our stories. Let's bring our families together, and let's dance in celebration and worship in celebration for our newfound freedom and a new way of life for us as African Americans in America. And so it was designed to mark that period. So it wasn't about just partying. It was about a fellowship and gathering like they never could before, because the enslaved were not allowed to gather unless the slaveholder gave them permission to do so. But they had a new freedom to be able to do it. And they had a new way to be able to say, where do we go from here? So it marked the beginning of really a turn in the mind of the people in Texas, but really all across the United States, that we are free now. And what do we do with this new liberty?
Yes. Oh, I got goosebumps. This just the thinking about, especially, we're Black women, Black people. And when you think about the history of Juneteenth and what it means and being able to celebrate it, for a lot of us, we're fairly new to it. I didn't grow up celebrating Juneteenth, but I love it. I recognize it. And so to be able to have a place to go in a predominantly Black city, I think that's just so many layers of like excellence and meaning that you guys bring to the celebration of Juneteenth. So what are some of the things that are going to be celebrating freedom during the event that's happening on Juneteenth?
So when Juneteenth was initially started, one of the ways in which Africans in America track their history is through their music.
Mm.
It is through, number one, first the moanings and groanings in the bottom of the slave ship that allowed them to be able to transcend, because there were many Africans who were in the bottom of the ship that didn't share the same language, but
Mm.
they shared the same song, they shared the same moaning and groanings as they were in the bottom of that ship, helping themselves to press through one of the most difficult voyages even today is the transatlantic voyage. That's number one. Number two, when they came here and they had to work in these fields, one of the things that the slave did, or the enslaved African did, was they sung, and they said you could hear their voices from miles away because
Mm.
they got a rhythm. They got a rhythm with the picking of cotton. They got a rhythm with the railroad and laying the roads, laying the wood and the steel down. They developed a rhythm in order to be able to move through the work that and I mean, it was back-breaking killer work, but to be able to move through it. And so out of that was born our spiritual music. Out of that was born Swing Low, Sweet Chariot. Out of that was born messages to those who were running away from slavery. It was through our song. It was through the moaning and groanings of our soul and our spirit. And so we will begin opening up our Juneteenth with our spiritual
Mm.
music. And so it starts with our gospel. And after that, born out of gospel came blues and jazz. It was sometimes people attribute blues as being the way in which the enslaved African said, I don't know if God still hear me. So I'm
Mm.
going to sing about something else. You know, I'm going to sing about, and if you listen to blues, blues is a sorrowful song oftentimes of how the African was feeling. So blues came and then jazz came. And what we will have to sing, we're going to have the Florida Super Choir to sing our spiritual songs. We're going to have Mustafa, who is a local artist. He is going to bring the jazz and the blues segment there. Now, one of the things I do want to tell you that I have to know, everybody on this stage is a 305.
Yes. Come on now. Ow, ow.
Right there, I told people, I said, I want you to understand something. In South Florida, we have our own talent, just like they have it in Louisiana. We
Mm.
have our own sound of music. And when people come to Miami Gardens, when they come to the Black community, I want them to hear some of the best entertainment that our local community has to offer. And when I tell you in Miami Gardens, Broward, and Palm Beach, that you have some of the best musicians and singers and performers anywhere. You hear me? And because it is a cornucopia of the Caribbean and of the Southerners and all of that, let me tell you, the sound that comes out of these people with just a stroke of a guitar will blow your mind. So we are very, very proud to have all of our artists to be from South Florida. So
Yeah.
we will move from jazz and blues, and we'll go right into neo soul and
Mm.
Caribbean music. And that's going to be Miss Shauna Lee. Shauna Lee is out of Broward County, and she is a teacher, but she has sung with some of the best artists locally here in South Florida. And she has her own band, and we've invited her to bring her talent and her skill set, into Juneteenth. And after Shauna Lee, then we're going to have Ronnie V, who is a local Miami Gardens resident, and
Yeah.
he's a falsetto. I think that's what they call his voice, right? He
Yes.
he's the new Smokey Robinson. And then we have the famous Gia Ware. Gia is both a gospel, R&B, a songstress. Almost anything that you want her to sing, she can sing it. She can go from one pitch to the next. And so she will be bringing in our contemporary rhythm and blues section. And then to really be our headliner, we have Bald Breezy. And
Hey.
Bald Breezy, let me tell you something. I love this man's music. I really, really do. I believe that he is a multi-award winning, Grammy award winning artist. And he
Mm-hmm.
continues to make hold up. He continues to make music. But I'm going to tell you what I love about his hip hop music, and that is that he speaks of love.
Mm-hmm.
He speaks of love between a couple, you know, in a way that has been different for me to hear in contemporary music. But it's a different way that he chooses to speak to women, to speak to the woman, to speak to his crowd. And so he had me there, and I said, you know what? I want you to come in. I want you to do your radio edited version. But I think that more of my generation need to hear the kind of music that you were playing. And so we're going to have that on the stage. We will have fireworks at the end of our
Yes.
program. We are going to have stilt walkers. We will have the African drums. We are going to also have our Junkanoo there for our Caribbean African folks. But I think that the other parts of it that I love that we are having is, you know, I was at Miami Carol City in the 1980s, right? And my boyfriend was a member, he took vocational ed, and he was in the automotive division. And he used to paint his car, put the white walls on, you know, have tinted windows and all that. I fell in love with that lifestyle. So for me, I love to see the men today with their cars. The dunks are powerfully beautiful. And I know the hard work that the men out there who ride in those cars and invest their time and refurbish them and put them together. I know the hard work that they do. So I've invited them to come and to have
Oh,
a car show.
nice. I
So
like
we're going to have a car show out there. We'll get a chance to see them. We'll have a cigar lounge for the Father's Day. You
yeah.
know, we're going to be having a stage tournament. Now, you know it's going to be some mess.
Oh, this is blackety black. I love it.
You know, and to honor the HBCUs, we've invited the Divine Nine. And we're going to have reserved spots for each of our sororities and fraternities so that when they get ready to hit their line, they'll all be on the same row. And the goal is really to have an opportunity for us to come together as one. And all of the things that connect us, all of the things, even the high schools, Carroll City and Norland, they're joining their bands together and they are going to open the Juneteenth celebration this year. So everything that unites us through our music, through our colleges, our education, our schools, our churches, our expressions of our own creativity through our cars, and and just our recreation. We will have there to really just take it easy that day, love each other, and remind ourselves of what freedom really is. And it's about voting. It's about having civic responsibility. It's about taking care of one another. It's about our education, okay? And it's about loving one another. Women loving their men loving their women, men and women loving their children and loving their neighbors. That's where the ancestry part of Juneteenth really was born out of. And that was, let's celebrate this, but let us know that our prayers have been answered. Now we have a responsibility that we have our freedom to rise to higher levels in the American society and become the conscious of American society by reminding them that freedom is due to us all.
Yes.
It's not colorblind. And so when those shackles really fell off of those final enslaved Africans, they had a message. We celebrate, but let us remember why.
Yes. Oh my God. See, every time I talk to you, I always feel like you got a little preacher in you. You got a little, TD Jakes in you. Like I've got like teary eyed as you're like talking about this celebration. Like just real honestly, like real talk. It's to me, what you guys have curated for this year is just a celebration of Blackness, the diaspora, Africanness, but also to what makes us unique as Black Americans. And so the fact that you guys have that in there, and also to have the unique experience of what it means to be Black in Miami or Black in South Florida, and the fact that you were so intentional about that, I think that is something to say about what Miami Gardens means to the community and what you guys think about and respect about the community as a whole. So just thank you again for that. I think that is going to be an amazing thing. And then I also too love the fact that you're giving us this information and schooling us on the importance of Juneteenth. Like you're educating and preaching and informing, like you're giving us all the things today. So I thank you for that. I'm going to make sure I cut this up into clips so people understand like not only what's going on with the event, but also to why we celebrate Juneteenth, because you've so beautifully broken that down. And another thing that is really amazing about Juneteenth is like there's symbolic things about like the color red and different drinks that we do. So is that going to be incorporated? Can you tell us about the culinary experience that people will be able to have during this Miami Gardens Juneteenth festival?
Yes, you know, one of the things that we have been deliberating about is staying as culturally close to everything that we eat and enjoy. The food trucks have been strategically selected for those who are going to be able to bring conch, those that are going to be able to bring some fried chicken. We're going to have a peach cobbler contest. You know, who makes the best lemon cake? You know, we're going to be selling those kinds of things and having tastings of those kinds of things because, you know, I think everybody knows who makes the best potato salad, who makes the better macaroni and cheese. But we have some par excellence in food trucks. We got the very best that we thought, you know, and many of them are Miami Gardens residents, nice. You know, who own their own, because we have a very, very strong entrepreneurial spirit here in Miami Gardens. And so they have lots of businesses that are restaurateurs and they give a whole lot to Juneteenth. So we're looking forward to having, like, I think we got about 12 nice. Food trucks, and we are going to have merchandise vendors there that will be selling African attire, jewelry, organic soap, and things of that nature that's curated in their own homes. You know, boiled peanuts, a little bit of sauce.
Come on, I
corn on the cob.
I've been to two of the Juneteenth. Last year I couldn't make it, and so this year I'm definitely excited to come back and be, because I try to make sure I go to this event. It's always one of those like really, really fun events. Is there going to be some red sodas or red drinks? You know, that's really Juneteenth. Is there because I always feel like I always go look for strawberry soda on Juneteenth. Am I gonna be able to get my strawberry soda?
I think you're gonna be able to get your strawberry soda. And like they said, you're gonna be able to get your red soda.
Yes, let me get my red soda when I come out there to celebrate for the Juneteenth, because I know there's a few different food items that are a part of the Juneteenth. So I love that you're like, look, we're gonna have specific cultures and different culinary experiences out there for you to be able to really partake in. Vice Mayor Wilson, you know, before I let you go, is there anything else that you would like to add about the event or just the experience or anything that's coming up in Miami Gardens that our audience should know about?
You know, I think the biggest thing that the biggest message, and I like you, I get all teary-eyed, I get emotional about it because I feel like this is a part of my assignment in life, one of my life purposes. And that is for us to understand that when the mayors that were passed, Shirley Gibson and the founders, they wanted to build a city that controlled its own destiny. And part of that is a responsibility of us to do what they believe that we should do. Well, it was the same with our ancestors who ran away out of slavery and went and laid their life down in the Civil War and fought on the North Side to fight for our freedom that you and I enjoy today. And when the vestiges of that slavery ended, those people had a responsibility to move forward peacefully and orderly into a new way of life. And that wasn't that long ago. It's just a couple of generations ago that happened. And now, you know, as you and I can see, we see that our sons are still being shot down in the street, that a mother that knocks on the door is killed and shot through a door. We are not experiencing the freedom that we know our ancestors intended for us to experience. So if there was anything that I have to say to our audience is that let Juneteenth be a reminder that we have a responsibility to our families. We have a responsibility not to treat our families as though they're disposable, that we have to work at keeping it together, right? Keeping our communities strong, being good stewards over our finances, making sure that we help one another, that we love one another, that we continue to worship and to pray and to have a spiritual life that helps us to transcend our current conditions so that we can press onward to a better tomorrow. Because if Juneteenth is nothing, it is the evidence of what moaning and groaning and prayer and humility can help you to transcend to a day where freedom is fully realized. And so we cannot rest in the fact that we think that we are free, because there are too many indicators going on around us that freedom is under fire.
Ooh, a word. That's a word. It's like almost I have to take a moment of silence. And I'm like, I really feel like I'm in a flow. I was listening to Oprah and Tyler Perry and my motivational videos to prepare before I got on this interview. So you really are tapping into that same energy level that they're on. I would encourage anybody to just save this video, add it to their motivational playlist, because like what you're saying is just really that deep and so important and so pertinent for us. And we definitely need to keep that in mind for Juneteenth. Vice Mayor Katrina Wilson, I really appreciate you for coming on. Just your queen energy that you came in with, your black girl magic you came in with. We always come back, girl. Come back and give us this energy. Before you go, just plug it again. I'm going to put the flyer up, but let people know where it's going to be, what time, the date, and then also to let them know how they can connect with you and also to learn more information about Juneteenth.
Okay, so our Juneteenth celebration is going to be at the illustrious Hard Rock Stadium on Saturday, June 17th. We will open our doors at 3 p.m. You are able to come in, get your parking space, bring your lawn chair, and get ready to sit out in the beautiful weather of South Florida. The show will begin promptly at 5 p.m. This will be Ball Greasy as our headliner, Gia Ware, Melton Mustafa, Urban Light, who is going to be our poet, the Florida Fellowship Super Choir, Ronnie V.O.P., Shauna Lee, hosted by none other than Miami Gardens' own Marvin Dixon, and the music by Bo Weezy. You can't get no better than that. Along with myself, Councilman Robert Stevens and Councilman Leon, we are looking forward to all of you, and the mayor also of the city of Miami Gardens. Our council at large is just excited about hosting this event, and we're excited about seeing all of you there.
Yes, and to learn more, how can people? Where should they go? And if they want to connect with you, how can they do that?
Well, to learn more, go to www.mgjuneteenth.com. That's www.mgjuneteenth.com. And you can follow me, Vice Mayor Katrina Wilson, on Instagram at Councilwoman_Wilson.
Yes, love it. Guys, if you're looking at the screen, we have that up. We have the flyer up with all the information. Of course, you guys can go to mgjuneteenth.com, connect with them on social media, and so you can get all the information on what you need to prepare for that day. You guys make sure you come ready to receive and get that energy of freedom and the ancestors, and let's honor them. And thank you so much for creating this space, City of Miami Gardens, for us to be able to celebrate, to have a place in our own backyard, to have a world-class event. I always give Miami Gardens their props for that, because you don't have to go far to have world-class entertainment and fun and community. So thank you.
It's our pleasure. Trust me, it is.
Look, this has been another amazing episode of the Can We Talk podcast with the friend of the show, Vice Mayor Wilson. You're welcome back anytime. Yes. Give us this good word, this good energy. I love it. Any day we could come back on the show. Guys, we're going to have this up on our website. We're going to have links as well. So if you want to connect or register or learn more information about the Juneteenth event, it'll be on our website at hallonewsmiami.com. Also, while you're there, make sure you sign up for our email newsletter so you get our news first. We're on all the social media sites, so follow us us there as well. We thank you guys for supporting us and tuning in to another amazing show. This has been a great episode. Happy Juneteenth, everybody. Let's make sure we go out there and support Vice Mayor Wilson and the whole Miami Gardens, City of Miami Gardens and the Miami Gardens Council for putting together this amazing event. Thank you again, Vice Mayor Wilson. We'll
My
see
pleasure.
you next time. To
You
another great
got it.
episode.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.